Hello everyone. My apologies for exposing you and the community to this kind of drama, but I can assure you it is not without reason. I'm just gonna be straight up with you. I am here to expose ProheraldSjr3000 for his complete toxicity and for basically misinforming everyone into thinking that he isn't toxic at all and that he is a great person or some shit, but that is completely not the case. He has a disgusting mouth. He is extremely toxic to anyone, especially if you're playing better than him. I swear to God, the most annoying thing is when you go against this guy and you are completely outplaying him, making reads left and right against him. And not only does he start to camp even harder than what he does, he also likes to start to spam toxic emotes. And, you know, this guy has the biggest ego in the entire world, and he can never take his L like a real man. He just straight up cusses you out, calls you lucky, says that you're using cheap characters, blah 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 blah, when he just can't accept the fact that he just got outplayed. And most of the time he's higher dojo than you too, so he really got outplayed. You know, camps all the time, spams toxic emotes, and uses pretty strong characters, especially that he's dojo 13, you know, or most of the time he's just higher than the enemy anyway. So he gets extremely salty and bitter when you outplay him, and it is actually hilarious that he is that toxic to people that he runs into. At least for me, I do hate campers as much as the next guy does, but I'll never cuss anyone out for being a camper. I'll just let them know that they're a camper, but I'll never cuss them out or say they're lucky. If I lose, yeah, I'll say that they were camping, but I'll leave it at that, and you're like, okay, I'll bring the heat the next game. It is basically that simple. And if I truly do get outplayed, I do it on my streams all the time. If I'm getting outplayed or I get outplayed, I'll be like, yeah man, you played better than me, absolutely. You know, it doesn't mean anything. It's not gonna hurt my ego because I don't have an ego through the roof. Yeah, I have incredible skills, but if someone plays better than me, they play better than me, and that's just how it is. I'll just bring the heat the next game. That's all you gotta do. But anyways, so what I'm prepared to show you guys is the reason why me and him have this problem. The reason this all started is because of a thing that happened in my server, and you know, he tried to get people to leave my server, which less than 10 people actually left my server out of like the 360 that were there. But they could have left for other reasons, not just him. But you know, he was trying to get people that were mods to basically nuke the entire server and shit. And just because I'll give you a little context here. He came after me and Hammer were fighting, right? Just good old me and Hammer Legion gameplay. You know, we were just messing around and, you know, cracking jokes and shit. And this man has to come on in and be extremely toxic to me and Hammer. And then me and Hammer were just trying to play it off. And he comes to my girlfriend comes to defend me and Hammer, and you know, she spits straight up facts at him, and he just gets even more salty and starts cussing her out. And this is basically how it starts here. We weren't even talking to this man in the first place. Me and Hammer were just cracking jokes, but he just like, Legion players really be feeling themselves, and I just laugh at him like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then like, don't they use the cheapest shit? Like, I'm like, okay, much like Midnight Lynx players, they're just as broken, if not worse. And you know, he's just getting more salty, saying, God, this community. You know, like we didn't even come at him. I don't know what the hell he's so salty for. And then he's like, why do you bring other factions into it? Like, that was honestly one of the stupidest things you could say, because he brings up, you know, Legion being cheap, and I'm like, okay, you know, Heralds can be cheap too, Lynx and Midnight players. And I hate that he always does that stupid yawn. Like, you look absolutely retarded when you do the yawn, man. Like, it is so annoying. But again, we continue to play it off. I just do the Marcus emote because that's one of my favorite emotes to do. And I'm just trying to, like, let this man do whatever the hell he needs to do. And we get to here, and this is when my girlfriend actually comes in to defend me. And of course, like the toxic guy he is, you know, he tries to be the big bad tough guy, like, oh, you got a problem with that? You know, and all that type of bullshit. And you know, she says Legion goes burr, even though she actually doesn't even like Legion. She prefers Heralds, but you know, he's just being a complete dick to me. And then basically she just goes on talking about how they messed up Ling, and you know, he starts calling them cheap and garbage, and everyone's trying to be like, hey, stop it. And you know, Max is doing random stuff, posting Among Us crap. Because no one wants to see us fight. You know, people don't like to be toxic in my server, and I didn't want it either, trust me. But you know, the way he is, his personality, he just likes to keep going and going and going. And you know, he's starting to cuss her out now, and you know, he's like, I don't know why your goofy ass is salty. It's like, she's not salty, man. She's just stating the obvious that you're the salty one here. And I just, again, trying to play it off and be funny, and I post Ironclad, that old thumbnail from my old video. And everyone else here is just taking this as a joke, but, you know, Pro Herald is just basically taking this as serious as possible because, you know, he's salty 24/7. And, you know, again, with the Among Us stuff. And he's trying to say that she's pressed when she doesn't even play it, which is hilarious. And, you know, he's trying to tell me, like, oh, you better get your girl now. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. You're the one that's being an idiot here. And, you know, I basically, in a joking way, say, ayo, like, I'm about to kick you. And then, you know, he starts to call her a cunt. And I'm like, okay. And again, you know, she's just spitting more facts, saying that he's just salty as hell and just being straight up toxic. And then, you know, he tells her to shut up, ho, which is, you know, just absolutely disgusting. So that is basically how that whole thing started between me and him, and that's the reason why he got banned from my server, for just being over the top toxic, and for absolutely no reason other than him just being straight up salty. And this man actually hates Legion more than I hate Dynasty, but the difference between me and him is I don't go cussing people out. See, what you guys don't understand is there's a difference between me calling a certain character trash and then me calling the player trash. You know, it seems like you guys kind of get that mixed up. You know, just because I call the player, just because I call like the character, for example, Shang, trash, that doesn't mean that the player that uses Shang is trash. It's just the character himself is. You know, there's a big difference. And you know, and I don't go cussing people out for using a certain faction. I'll preach my Legion supremacy and my propaganda, but I'll never cuss anyone out for using a different faction. Hey, you can use whatever the hell you want. I don't give a shit. But I'll completely straight up say that Legion is superior and Dynasty is trash, and you can take that for what you will. It's not my problem. But so that's basically why that happened and why he got banned again. And this is a few people that saw what happened completely that try to talk to him, and this is where it really gets bad. And I'll give you a lot of examples here on what happens when you talk to this guy. And you know, Mom, I want to remind you that the first person here is 15 years old, and it is actually hilarious how a 15-year-old dude is actually more mature than a grown-ass man. It is absolutely comical, in my opinion. But here's this right now. So this is my good friend Bliss, and he's basically just telling him that you messed up, and then he's like, sure, with that stupid yawn. You know, that is so annoying. And he basically just stating the facts, like, yeah, you want to fight with us, and he's like, Mel should have never started shit with me. Bro, she did not start shit with you. You came at me, Hammer, and her. She was just defending me and Hammer from your toxic ass. But, you know, you just never seem to think you did anything wrong, which is, man, that's typical of you. And starts going on about how the bitch got smart with me and yada yada yada. And you can read this entirely. I'm just basically giving you the brief version, but you can read these for yourselves and let me know what you really think. But as you can see, you know, he is being absolutely disgusting to Bliss here, who, like I said, is only 15, so that makes it even worse. And, you know, he's just trying to have a nice civilized conversation with him. And, you know, it's absolutely gross that he's like this. And he just got such a high ego that is absolutely through the roof. And he acts like that he's not losing support left and right, when which he is, and he's definitely gonna lose support after this video. I'm giving you, this isn't even the worst thing that he does. Like, this is just basically what I have. But like, it all started with Thug Deer. If I'm being honest, Thug Deer was absolutely right about Pro Herald. I don't condone racism at all. I think Thug Deer was absolutely wrong for being racist like that. There's never an excuse to be racist. But what I'm trying to say is, Thug Deer had a point that Pro Herald is extremely toxic, egotistical, and just basically blinded by pride. And as you can see here, as you're reading these, he's absolutely right. And it goes on to other people, and he just basically loves to cuss everyone out instead of actually being mature. Like I say, these are younger people who are way more mature than he is, and he's acting like a 12-year-old kid that lost in a Call of Duty game. It's just hilarious. And he loves that yawn for some reason. I don't understand, dude. That is so cringe how you always yawn. And now we have Tanks, who is actually 14 and at one point really looked up to this guy. And it's a shame that he talks down on him like this just because he can't admit that he's wrong. And if everyone is saying that you're in the wrong, it's probably because you were. It's not because they're my fans. He just can't admit that he's wrong. He's got way too much pride. His ego is through the roof. It makes him extremely toxic. And I really hope that he starts to lose more support than he already is, because he absolutely deserves it. You just can't act like that, man. You can't talk to women like that. You can't talk to younger kids like that. You just can't do it. Man the fuck up and admit that you were wrong, or just shut up completely and forget it ever happened if you want to go that route. But don't be going around spreading lies trying to say that I'm the toxic one here, and that I'm the one that started everything, and that my girlfriend came after you, when that is absolutely not true. You came after me and Hammer. And you're just dumb, dude. You really are. You don't see anything. You can't I don't know how else to put it. You're just straight up dumb. And everyone's starting to see this now, and thank God, because it's about damn time. Jesus Christ. And guys, look, I know this is definitely a lot to take in, and I was going pretty quick. I understand that, and it may be a little confusing at first, and the way I'm explaining it. But all you have to do is just read the messages yourself and judge for yourself. I really hope that this man loses all the support that he has, because I warned him. Trust me, I warned him several times to quit spreading lies, or I will show everyone how you really are. And I'm a man of my word, and that's exactly what I'm doing here, because he just doesn't get it. And I'm not doing this to give him attention. I just want to show everyone that how he really is. And how immature, how toxic, how bad for the community he is, and how bad he is to represent Neki. I really hope Neki cuts ties with him, because they don't, he doesn't rep them very well. Yeah, just, he's just a horrible person. And, it's not the first time he's done this to people. There's several other cases of him doing this, and this isn't even the first time he's done this to me. Being toxic and whatnot. He's done this several times to me. But I let it go. I forgave him, but this one was the last straw, and I gave him warnings. I did, and this is what you get, man. And everyone that sees this video that has any sense at all will understand that this man is just horrible for this community. He's extremely toxic, and yeah, he just deserves to lose all support that he has. He doesn't deserve it at all. He let his ego get to him. He let the little fame that he had get to his head, and now look. So yeah, man, quit spreading lies, because you're just clowning yourself, and more people are seeing who you really are, and it gives me great pleasure to see you losing fans left and right, and I hope I can contribute to that, you know, with some stone cold evidence on your fucked up personality, dude. You know, and I really apologize for the language, but, you know, it's just how I feel. So, good luck to you, man.